morning, good morning, good morning. Daily dose of salt. Share with that group. Trust you all are having a beautiful Friday morning. Kimmy and I just worked out. Kimmy and I organized and cleaned the house since about 3 a.m. this morning. So we got some guests coming. Hello, Ellen, Gina, Kelly. Good morning to you. And today we're going to go fishing and we're going to golf. And it's going to be a beautiful day. Hello, Penny. Hello, Mario. Hello, Doug. Hey, what I wanted to address this morning was it's this little thing to think about before you and I speak. Say something. So as I look back on my, well, let's say 65 years of life, but 44 years of business. Well, actually, I could go back 50 years of, being like in business, either as an employee or a business owner. Most of it an owner, but 5 or 6 years as an employee. I can tell you this, folks, that I have never actually done anything with my body that I can think of that set me back. Like destroyed relationships, destroyed business, set me back, undermined my reputation. I can't think of anything I've ever done with my mind that set me back or destroyed relationships. Not my body, not my mind. Not my heart, not my heart. I don't think I've ever done anything that sabotaged or undermined or set me back. Decisions I've made, well, maybe, for sure. But the place that I've really had setbacks in my life, I've gone backwards maybe 5 or 10 years, or gone back 50 years in relationships with people, which utterly destroyed relationships, or destroyed reputation, credibility, momentum, how people see me, how people hear me, my influence, my leadership, income, wealth. The place that I have undermined all of that in my life is with my mouth. Things that I have said. I mean, it would be interesting to have some sort of chronological graph if there was a way to quantify, income, wealth, credibility, factor, relationships, love, going along and then, oops, Richard says something and you go way down and then you got to work your way back up, and then you go way down, and right? Always with my mouth. And, my mouth could be the spoken word or the written word, which today, there's this really good rule: before you send a text or an email, sleep on it. I couldn't work that way, right? Because I send too many texts and emails that have to go out today. But I have sent some emails and some texts that could have gone out tomorrow that I sent today that sent me off one of those cliffs, right? So here's a couple of questions to ponder before you say anything, including write anything. Question number 1, what is the motive for what you are about to say? And it's a tricky question because you're probably answering it with 2 parts of you: your heart and your head, your spirit and your ego. And the question is, what's the motive for what I'm about to say? If the motive is to truly from your heart contribute, then it's probably a safe, honorable, right thing to say. If the motive for what you're about to say comes from your head, comes from being right, comes from making somebody else wrong. If it's ego-based, like it comes from you looking good, right? Then it's probably going to send you off a cliff. So just ask the question, what's the motive? Is it heart-based motives or is it head-based motive? If it's head-based motive, it's probably ego-based. You're trying to look good. You're trying to be right. You're trying to dominate. You're showing off or something, right? And so you just look at, like, if you write something, you might just pause for a minute and reread it and ask, well, where's this coming from? What's the motive for me sending this? If it's truly heart-based, it's contribution. I saw one comment, necessary. Sure, necessary is, at least from your perspective, necessary would be a contribution. Contribution to you, contribution to them, contribution to the relationship. And notice none of this has anything to do with, how harsh your communication is. I'm not a fan personally of sugarcoating things. And this will contradict a little bit of the second question I'm going to have you ask. But so you can just dance with those two. The problem with sugarcoating things is, especially if you're talking to somebody that has a tendency to deflect the truth, or at least deflect a truth, like, hey, I'm telling you my truth, and they have a tendency to deflect it, to be in denial, to be delusional. Like maybe you're giving somebody feedback about what it's like to be in relationship to them, and they just blow off everything you say, and oh, no, I'm great, I do everything wonderful. And well, to the degree that you sugarcoat things, people tend to not interpret that you're serious, that you really mean this, that damage is really being done. And to the degree that you might tune up your language, your tone, so that it might seem harsh to some people, but makes it less forgettable. People have less of an ability to blow you off because they remember what you said. And for me personally, and I'll contradict myself in a moment, if I'm looking to contribute to somebody, I don't weigh in a lot on whether or not what I'm going to say to them makes them mad. Because in my experience, people that have really contributed to me first made me mad. Why? Because my ego didn't like what they said, right? And it's the ego that gets mad. So I don't put a lot of stock in whether somebody's going to get mad. I put a lot of stock in whether or not they might remember what I said and whether it needs to be said, whether it could be a contribution to them to be said, not so much on whether they get mad. And then the second question I encourage you to ask is, how are they going to hear it? Right? So put yourself in their shoes. Put yourself in their shoes given the context of the problem, the issue, the circumstance, the relationship, the hierarchy of the relationship. Like, how do they see you in relationship to them? Maybe more authority, more competency, less competency, more dominance, less dominance. Put yourself in their shoes and ask yourself the question, how are they going to hear this? Because if they don't hear it well, and here's the distinction about hear it well. I don't really care if people hear it well in the immediate. Like, it's okay with me if somebody goes, right? That jerk. If what I said needs to be said, truly coming from the heart, is a contribution, and I ask the question, how are they going to hear it? And I have an intuition, a truly heart-based intuition that, you know what, they may not hear it well immediately, but they could hear it well in 5 minutes or 5 hours or 5 days. Which that gets a little tricky, right? You got to use judgment there, but it's a real legitimate second question. How are people going to hear this? Because even if it needs to be said, like I was thinking of a particular issue yesterday that I was talking to a couple of people about, and there's somebody I'm kind of in relationship with in business where, wow, something really needs to be said to this person. And other people have tried to say it. And until this person hears it, they're going to keep doing damage to a lot of people. And So the paramount question is not whether or not what needs to be said is coming from the heart or contribution or needs to be said or any of that. It definitely needs to be said, at least from my perspective and a lot of other people that have a vested interest perspective. And this is like a big deal, right? It's a big business. And somebody needs to be told something, but they need to be able to hear it, right? So the conversation yesterday was, wow, no matter how this is said, are they going to be able to hear it? And until the answer to that is yes, there's no point in saying it, right? It's just going to destroy relationships. So the question might be, okay, well, the way I am planning on saying it, no, I can't see where they're going to hear it. Okay, well then how about stand in the question, how could I say it? Well, how could somebody else say it? Like, who could say it that this person could hear? Right? So maybe you delegate it to somebody that they can hear. Or you keep asking the question, how could I say it? Maybe I could tell a third-party story. Maybe I could send a quote. Maybe I could send a video. Maybe, right? Keep thinking creatively. How could this message be sent so that the person could hear it? Because if they can't hear it, it's, useless, right? So just a couple of things to think about before you write something, before you say something, before you send something. Where's it coming from? Head or heart, contribution or ego? And how is the other person going to hear it? And if you think this message has value, today is Friday. And guess what day Friday is normally on Daily Dose of Salt, right? Friday rhymes with Tag Day. Friday, Tag Day. Get it? Kind of rhymes. So Friday could be Tag Day where you tag somebody. Or Friday could be Share Day because it rhymes with share. Share, get how that rhymes? So Friday is Share Day. Friday is Tag Day. Great, Jennifer. I'm glad that was a contribution. Hello, Kelly. Heart of Hearts. Thank you. Good to see you again this morning. Everybody say hi to Kimmy. She doesn't like to be on camera impromptu. Hello, Mary Jo. Thank you for being here this morning. Thanks for the hearts. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the tags. Thanks for the shares. See you tomorrow.